Hi you guys, and welcome back. We're going to do a video today on how to propagate a snake plant cutting. Um, this is a full-size snake plant, or relatively full-size, and so I really don't want to dig into it too much, but we'll use it as an example without actually cutting any plants out. So I have my pruners here. There's a couple ways to do it. One is you could dig down into your soil around a plant like this, and you can find the main root that attaches it to the mother plant. And then you can take your pruners and you can reach in there into the soil and you can cut that root off, so that when you pull this guy out, you'll just have a couple leaves and then a stub. And typically you won't have any roots on that stub, it'll just be the stub of the mother plant root that came off of it. And then you can remove this entire plant. After you've removed it, there's two ways to do it. One is that you can put it into some soil. It's just really important that you don't let it dry out. If you let it dry out, eventually your cutting is just going to wither up and die. So it's important that you either keep it in a bag or maybe just make sure it doesn't dry out. So after you've removed your cutting, you should have something that looks like this, less the roots. And so this is an example of a cutting that you can see here. We cut the you can see where we cut the main root from the mother plant, and so it was a couple of leaves that came up, and then the main root that had been stubbed. And then what you want to do is, what I do at least we find good success, is that we take these and we put them into a cup of water, and you can see all the new roots that have started to come off of here. So after these new roots all start growing out, that's when you can take it out and you can plant it into a container, and you have your new snake plant. So we have 3 cuttings in here that we took, and you can see that they're all rooting out fairly well. This guy here has got 2 new roots here, and then these guys are both covered in them. So at that point, after they've reached about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch long, that's when you can now transplant them into a container. So I would suggest planting your cuttings into a small container to start. So I would suggest like maybe a 4-inch in diameter container. The reason for that is that when you have a snake plant that's growing, what the snake plant does is, we can see here the mother plant, and here's the mother plant as well. So these two here, it was put into a 6-inch container, and then what happens is the mother plant grows its babies from underneath the soil in a root, and that root travels through the soil until it hits something hard. So it'll hit like a rock or a stick, or in this case it hits the edge of the container. And when it hits something hard, it then grows up. And so you'll find that your new growth will actually circle the pot right close to the rim. And so if you take a cutting like this, and if you plant it into a big giant 8-inch container, or something, anything larger than a 4-inch, you'll plant this guy in here like this, and then you'll have 3 inches of empty soil, and then a new plant will grow up outside. And so it ends up looking really empty on the inside of your container. So my recommendation to you is to start your cuttings off in something small, allow them to fill out naturally. And so I'm just going to dig a hole with my finger. I'll bury this cutting in here, and I buried it about 1/2 inch above the roots that we grew. So about 1/2 inch above the roots is where I bury the cutting. And I'm going to put all 3 of these into the same pot. So there we go. I now have 3 snake plants in 1 container. These guys are rooting out already, so they're going to grab into the soil to anchor themselves down, and those roots are going to start trying to grow new babies, and they'll start rimming the outside of the container, growing up a whole bunch of new plants as they go. And once this container is full, I'll then take it and transplant it into a 6-inch, like this guy here, and allow it to expand again and again, until eventually you have a snake plant that is much larger. Let's get my camera here to pan up. And so this guy has been upgraded consistently to fill a container this size, and he just keeps filling out more and more and more. And So that is one cutting, and I have a snake plant here that I planted a couple weeks ago, and so I thought I'd show you the progress on him. So it was the exact same steps. We had him rooting in water. I then transplanted 2 of them into this container here, and I thought we would just pull it out and take a look at the roots and see if there's any progress. So this is after a couple weeks, maybe it's been close to a month. We have roots that are finding the outside of the container, and these guys here have found the outside of the container. This is a new baby snake plant that's going to grow up, and we got 1, 2, is that just 2? 1 and 2? So there's 2 baby plants that are already trying to come up around the outside of the container, and so we got the 2 main plants I put in to start with, then there's 2 more coming in on the side. So these babies are actually already finding their way up towards the sunlight from inside the container. So I think now is actually a good time to plant them into a larger container and allow more babies to find their way progressively farther from the mother plant. So I have an 8-inch container here. We'll pull some soil out so I have some room to work. And I'm not burying him any deeper than the top of the root ball that he already has. And then we'll slough some of that soil in, and then fill the top the best we can. It's really important, in my opinion, that you don't compress your soil really hard that you just put in there. It's important to maybe just play with it a little bit to make sure you get the any large gaps of air in there. Make sure you get that out. But it's really important not to suffocate them and squish all of the oxygen out of the roots. So there we go. Those 2 new babies are going to grow up right close to this plant, and then from now on they're going to be coming out a little bit farther away here, and they'll start filling up this 8-inch container. And that's how you propagate and replant your snake plant. If you guys are new here and if you enjoyed the video, maybe click subscribe on our channel and give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions about a snake plant, leave them down below and I'll try and get back to you. And if you guys want to see any behind the scenes footage from a greenhouse, check out our vlogs. We have a playlist on our channel of just some behind the scenes everyday stuff that goes on in the greenhouse. And we'll see you next time. Bye.